What you guys, got another video here for you. Do this when installing Windows 11. I had quite a few people asking about the online version and how it creates a batch file and how you can use this to install Windows 11. So I wanted to make a video showing you step by step on how to do this, and everyone should be doing this when installing Windows 11. So go to the website and actually go through the actual settings that you want to add to your installation once you install Windows. I'm going to create a restore point here, so I'm going to toggle this one on. That's important, and I'm going to leave all the rest of this stuff because I don't need to clean the browser history because it's going to be a fresh install. So make sure you check mark the restore point. Next, go to the debloating section and work your way through the debloating section and toggle on what you want to debloat. This is going to remove a lot of stuff that you don't need, and it's also going to debloat a lot of the system and stopping it from utilizing all of your system resources. So you can see here, removing Microsoft apps, removing Xbox apps. If you need any of these, do not remove them because it will uninstall them. It's that simple. So go through here, disable consumer features. I don't need that. And I definitely want to disable recall. Now, someone said about recall not being installed on a standard Windows PC. The actual recall part is installed, but it's not actually harvesting data and working correctly. But you still want to disable that feature to make sure that it don't ever run. So next we're going to disable Hyper-V, disable fax and scan. If you need any of these, again, leave them on. Disable media player. Next, you've got the remove Microsoft Store. If you don't use the Microsoft Store, then you can remove it. Also, OneDrive. If you don't use OneDrive, toggle it on and it will uninstall it. Debloat Microsoft Edge. And there's also one here for remove Edge. So we're going to be removing Edge completely, and I will be installing Chrome or whatever browser you want on your installation. So this will remove it. If you don't want to remove it, then leave this toggled off. So leave these as is. That's how I'm going to have this installation. There's a few more just below here, which is to remove Copilot and to remove widgets and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle Copilot to be removed because I don't want to use that. Also remove widgets. I don't need widgets, and I don't need the taskbar widgets. So I'm going to remove those as well. Next, let's move on to the privacy section. This is to deal with all the privacy on Windows because there's a ton of it that you need to turn off, because if you don't use it, you might as well turn these features off. You can see here, disable Cloud Sync. I don't want to use that. App access. Also disable activity feed. I don't need that. Also disable notifications tray. I definitely want to disable all of this. Screen recording, automatic map downloads, also lock screen, camera access, and biometrics. We're going to disable all of these. There's a few more here. Disable app access to location, disable app access to the camera. If you use your camera, then don't toggle these on. Also the microphone there, I've left that off because I will be using the microphone. And we've got file system, account information, contacts, call history, and messaging. So all of these need to be turned off. There's some other ones here like notifications, email, tasks, data diagnostics. Also, we've got voice activation and a bunch of other ones here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these and just basically turn all of these off. Trusted devices, access to your phone, motion data, also radio, all of these can be toggled on. If you need any of these, then you can leave them off, but this will disable these features. Let's move on to telemetry. Disabling telemetry. There's disable Windows telemetry, disable Windows Update telemetry, search telemetry, Office telemetry, and a bunch of others. As you can imagine, there is telemetry everywhere on Windows. Handwriting data collection, clipboard data collection, you name it, it's all on there. I'm just going to go ahead and turn all of this off. Now, disabling the third-party telemetry part is up to you whether you want to disable any of this. There is PowerShell one right here. If you use the PowerShell, it probably will send telemetry back. There's also media player telemetry there as well. And also, you can see there's some other ones which I'm not going to bother with, but I will deal with the actual PowerShell and also the media player telemetry. They're the only ones I'm going to go for. So let's go ahead and toggle that on. So all the rest I'm leaving alone because I don't need any of this stuff. We can then move on to the gaming section. So let's go ahead and do that right here. And we can make changes to the gaming section. Now, again, if you use any of these, disable full screen optimization, disable mouse acceleration, also disable game bar, and also disable game mode. If you want to leave these alone, then don't toggle them on because they will be disabled. Next, we can add a DNS on here if we wanted to, and we can also add the ultimate performance if you use that. Also set services to manual. We definitely want to do that, and we're going to be going through disabling hugs and also limit defenders CPU usage, disable core isolation. This is obviously a security measure, but if you want to leave that on, then don't turn it on. It's that simple. Leave it off. Superfetch, storage sense, all that sort of stuff, I'm going to be turning those on to disable them. And again, I'm going to choose a DNS, which is this one right here. And this will change the DNS servers to these settings that I've got on here. Let's go ahead and move on to miscellaneous. Okay, so let's go ahead and toggle on set classic right-click context menu, add the end task to the context menu, disable numlock on startup, enable dark mode for Windows. If you don't want dark mode, then don't toggle that on. Again, show file extensions, disable sticky keys, snap layout, and enable the detailed blue screen of death feature in Windows. And also we can enable the verbose logon. If you want to do that, you can do. Next, we've got browse apps here. Again, this is where you can start adding in drivers if you wanted to, especially if you're installing Windows. Sometimes you have an issue with the driver install. I'm not going to do any of this stuff. I'm going to leave this well alone, and I'll show you another method to do that. Also, browsers, again, you can install a browser. If you are removing Chrome, you will definitely need to do that. I would much prefer you download a version from Chrome or whatever browser you choose and put that onto your USB flash drive and install it that way, like I'm showing you right here. And that way we can install it once we've removed all the other garbage. That way it's much safer. You're not relying on, say, Chocolatey or this script to actually download stuff. So there is some other download installations on there, but I'm not going to bother. Next, you're going to need to download the ISO file, or you can use the media creation tool if you want to use the Windows media creation tool. I'm going to be using Rufus, so I'm going to download a fresh, clean ISO file from Microsoft's website. Again, this is the safest way because you're not using someone else's creation online. This is just going to turn off a lot of features, and it's completely reversible because we'll have a restore point created by the actual script. Let's go ahead and download Rufus here. Again, this is going to help you bypass if you're on old computers and it doesn't support Windows 11. You can use this method, and you can also use Rufus to, do all the privacy answers for you and bypass and use a limited account rather than a online account for Microsoft, which they want you to use. So I've got everything in a folder here on my desktop. The script and batch folder I've downloaded, the Google Chrome. You've got the media creation tool. If you want to use that method, you can. I've downloaded that to show you here, but I'm going to go ahead and use Rufus. I've already downloaded that, and I've got a fresh copy of Windows 11. So let's start Rufus up here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and select our ISO file. I've got my USB flash drive plugged in. I'm going to go ahead and select this. And what we're going to do here is go into our debloat folder, and we're going to choose our ISO, and that's now selected. NTFS file system, UEFI, GPT is perfectly fine. That's all pretty normal for a modern day computer. If you're using older computers, you can set that to MBR if you wanted to, but I'm going to leave this as is because I've got a modern computer. Click on Start, and now this is where we get the user experience options where you can remove the requirement for 4 GB plus RAM, also secure boot and TPM 2.0. If you're on an old computer, you definitely want to leave that check marked. If you're not on an old computer, you can leave that unchecked. Remove requirements for online Microsoft account. I definitely want that one. And also create a local account with a username. You can use whatever username you want for your system. I'm going to leave it as main PC. That's perfectly fine. And you can also set your region options to the same values as this user. If you want to use that world option, then don't check mark that. and you can use the world option. It will remove all the applications during the installation process. We're going to disable all of the data collection and skip privacy questions, and disable BitLocker automatically device encryption as well. I'm going to leave all these check marked just to show people that's what you would do if you're on unsupported hardware. If you've got a modern day computer, you can uncheck the top one and uncheck some of the options that you don't need. Next, it's going to warn you about formatting the USB flash drive. That's okay. And we're going to go ahead and let that create the USB flash drive for us. So I'll speed this process up. Next, we're going to copy over our script to our USB flash drive with Windows on it that we just created. And we can then put it onto the flash drive ready for the installation, because we're going to run this as administrator once we've installed Windows. So let me go ahead and do that right here. And again, you can copy over the Google Chrome here as well, which is advisable, or whatever browser you chose to copy over. Let me just do that right here. Again, you might want to create folders to make it a little bit more tidier so you understand what's going on if you're going to keep this at any sort of length. I'm going to call it apps. You can drop in your apps inside here that you want to install. Also make a folder called drivers as well, and you can use that for all your drivers. Go to the manufacturer's website and download all of the drivers from there. It's a lot easier, and that way you don't have to keep going online and downloading everything that you need after you've installed Windows. We can go ahead here and create another one called debloat for our batch file. Let's go ahead and put that in here. And we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the video where we're going to install Windows, and I'll show you how to do the rest of this in a second. This part is basically getting Nonite. If you wanted to use this for your programs, you can do it and download all your apps this way. Check mark what you need on here and download the file and drop it onto your USB flash drive into your app section. If you're going to be installing all of these, it's quicker to do it this way, and it saves you having to go to each of these websites and download them manually. You can do that if you want to. There's tons of stuff on here, and pretty much most of the stuff you're going to use will probably be on here, apart from stuff like Photoshop and stuff like that. But again, you can check mark, say 7-zip, Dropbox, VLC, Discord, Zoom. You've got it all on there. Thunderbird, Chrome, Opera, Firefox, and Brave and stuff. There's also some antivirus programs on there if you want to use those ones. Again, Handbrake, stuff like that, Audacity, and you've got some other stuff. So let's go ahead and download this little selection right here. Probably not going to use this one. Probably just use Chrome for the video, but I'm just going to show you so you get an idea. I'm going to drop this into my apps folder, which I have on my Windows 11 USB flash drive, and that way it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and now go and show you the drivers section. Find out your motherboard manufacturer's name. You can do that in system information on your computer. I've shown you that before. Go to the support page of your motherboard manufacturers and go to the driver section and make sure you select the operating system here. And you want to download all of the latest drivers like LAN drivers, wireless drivers, and all of the chipset drivers and things like that. Now, people say, why do I bother doing this part? Because Windows does it for you. Sometimes Windows doesn't use the latest drivers. This will use the latest drivers here. And again, sometimes when you're installing Windows, the LAN driver might be missing, which means you won't have internet access, which will cause a lot of problems. And I'll show you how to sort that out during the installation process if that happens to you. So I'm going to go ahead and download all of these. You can unpack them if you want to, or unpack them once you've got Windows installed. Just extract the file into the same folder and delete all the zip files. Let's go through the installation process quickly. I'll speed a lot of this up. Now, I did say earlier, if you're going to use the world option, you would go through the language to install and time and currency, which will be world. You can use that option. It should be in here somewhere, English world. And this will basically force the installation not to install all of the applications and bloat. I've made videos on this. You can check those out on my video playlist. There's plenty of them up there to help you do this. Again, this one right here, and you could do that for language to install as well. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it as English limited because I've already set this up for Rufus. So next we're going to go UK, United Kingdom, extended, go next, and we're going to go ahead, agree to the terms and install Windows. I don't have a key. That's fine because we've probably already got an activation for this system. Choose your operating system right here. Windows 11 Pro on this system, accept their terms. And this is where we're going to get to searching for disks. From here, if you're having issues trying to get past with having no internet, you can load the driver and install the driver. Just navigate to your USB flash drive and go to the section where you've got your actual drivers for your LAN drivers right here. It will need to be unzipped, so make sure you unzip it if you're going to do this method. If you have an Intel driver that needs to be installed here, you can do it. I don't need it for this system, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that part and just select the disk and go ahead and install Windows on the whole of that disk. You can partition it out once Windows has been installed. I'll speed this process up, but it's going to go ahead and you're going to see a bunch of installation like this. Because we use Rufus, it's going to basically bypass a lot of the questions and also set up an account as we did set it up in that program. So you should be at the desktop now. Again, I did not use the world method for removing all the apps. I used Rufus instead. And again, so I will need to use this batch file, which I've got here on my USB flash drive right here. So all I'm going to do right here is we're going to go into our folder called apps, and I'm going to go ahead and install Chrome first. You can install all your apps using Nunite if you want to at this stage, and you should see something looking like this, and all your apps will be in here. So let me go ahead and install Chrome because I will be removing Edge, and I'll show you that. So you will need to install a browser first. Now, if you use the script before you download a browser, you'll have no browser to browse the internet, and that will cause you major problems. So make sure you set it up like this. It's much more easier. Next, you can go through and install all of your drivers. I'm not going to do that now because it will take a lot of time, but you can go ahead and install all of your drivers here. Once you've done all that, we're ready to right-click on our batch file. I'm going to copy this across to the desktop itself, right-click and run as administrator. It's important that we run it as administrator because it's going to need admin privileges. So we're going to do that, and now it's going to create a restore point right here, as you can see, and then it's going to go ahead and run all of those settings that we select on that site. It's created our batch file for us, and I'll speed this up. It's going to remove a bunch of apps. It's going to open up PowerShell, which is pretty normal because it needs to do a bunch of stuff like disable recall and stuff like that, and also services. So just let that do its thing, and once this is all done, we'll be able to close these boxes off. But at the moment, I'm just leaving them open because it's still running. So just leave them open until it's completely finished its job. And then what we can do is then restart the PC. If you see a couple of prompt boxes flashing there, that's pretty normal. Don't worry about it. That's what the batch file is doing in the background. It's just running the script. So what we're going to do is close these off now. We can push exit here to exit this out, and push any key here to basically exit out and close that off. It's now done. You can see it's made massive changes to the operating system. All the privacy and telemetry changes that we've made have been added to the computer. I'm just going to quickly restart the PC here one last time here for it to do its thing. And once we get back to the desktop, you can just tidy up and do a few little things here to finish off. So let's go ahead and click OK here. You can put your password in here if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave this as is and leave it blank. And it's going to prepare Windows here. And there we are. We're back at the desktop. All of the apps and bloat has been removed. All of the privacy settings have been changed. You might see the odd one little thing here that it's missed, like this LinkedIn. That's not a big problem. But all the other stuff has been removed. Yours might look different if you've selected different options in your batch file, so bear that in mind. And again, you can make these final little few changes here, like uninstall this LinkedIn here. At this stage, I would change the start menu and make it start 11 for myself, and that's what I would do. I'm just going to remove these and keep it as is because I don't want all of the recommended part on the bottom of the menu. But if you do want to use a decent start menu, then try it start 11. It's not free. It's about $5 or £5. It's pretty cheap. I can align this to the left if I wanted to, or leave it central. And I can also remove that search box here and make it a little icon to make it a bit tidier and smaller like that. And that's how I like it. Some people hide it altogether, but I think it's just easier to have that there. You can pin your settings to the taskbar if you wanted to. And it's a really clean look. It's super easy. And the good thing about this is you are selecting what you want to select. You're not relying on someone else making the choices for you and running this stuff in the background and removing a lot of settings that you might use. You get to choose what you want to take off and what you want to disable on your installation. And that is the beauty of this method. It's a lot easier and a lot more safer than, say, running some program that has settings in the backdrop that will just run and remove them for you without telling you what they're doing. This is actually giving you the options to check mark what you want, and then you can run the script as an administrator and it will go ahead. It's all open source here. You can see all of the code. There's no hidden secrets here. You can go through here and look through here with a fine-tooth comb. There is nothing in here that is, nasty or anything like that. It's just a bit of code making some registry edits and stuff like that. So this is a safe way of doing things rather than going off and downloading someone's pre-made ISO off the internet and using that. It's just not worth it because you don't know what they've done inside that ISO. This is a much safer method and a much cleaner method in my personal opinion. I can already hear the people in the comment section saying use Chris Tight's text tool or do this or do that. Use whatever method you like. This is just another way of debloating Windows and changing all the settings. It's not very destructive. The only destructive part is removing Microsoft Edge and also the Microsoft Store. If you don't want to do that, then leave those options alone. Again, you don't have to check mark those. It's all up to you. And that's the beauty of this method. Unfortunately, this is what you have to do with Windows 11 to get a much nicer, cleaner look on Windows 11 without all of the fluff and bloat that Microsoft want to force on you when you're using Windows 11 24H2 or any other version of Windows 11. This is a much more nicer, easier, cleaner look in my personal opinion. Anyway, with that said, I'm starting to waffle too much. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below and what method you use. I'll be happy to read your comments. Other than that, you can join the Discord server. Link is in the video description if you fancy a chat over there. Big shout out to all my YouTube members who have joined my YouTube members group. I really do appreciate the support. Whether you're tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3, I really do appreciate it. I shall catch you in the next video, or I'll see you on the Discord server. Bye for now.